I want to thank you for taking the time to check out my videos. I'm always looking for new topics, so if you have any to share or any comments, please leave them down below. I know right now you're probably trying to come up with all kind of new and great ideas to do things. But before you do, or when you're in the process of doing it, make sure when you're thinking about these great ideas that you're doing what you need to do to protect those ideas. And here's a couple of things you should keep in mind. Trademarks. How many of you have seen symbols, and when you see those symbols, they automatically let you know what it is? Maybe it's the golden arches, which lets you know it's McDonald's. Or maybe the swoosh that you see for Nike or the swoosh that you see for Amazon. Those are trademarks, and those are symbols that literally identifies with a particular product, good, or service. Now, it's important that when you start branding whatever you're going to have, that you may start coming up with some clever symbol that you want to utilize so that when people see those things, they can associate it with you. And it may be something you put on shirts, mugs, it may be on your building, on your letterhead, whatever the case may be. Start thinking about trademarking. Now, this video is not designed to teach you how to trademark. It's just letting you know that once you start creating those symbols, you need to start looking at, and let me say across the board, getting an intellectual property attorney involved with this early is really good, because once you start branding what you're doing, you want to make sure that you're protecting that brand so that somebody else is not taking advantage of it. And you're saying, well, what do you mean? Well, guess what? As you build your brand, and let's say you have some weird thing like, let's say your last initial is an L and you have an L in the shape of like a lightning bolt to let people know that that's who you are. But what happens is that when people, as that brand goes up, people may try to take that same brand and try to use it for their item because people get confused. So whether you're using your mark on a coffee mug or a picture frame, whether you're using it on a letterhead or even on your website, start thinking about trademarking it so that this way, and trademarking means taking that item, that symbol, and finding out legally what you need to do in order to protect it. Same goes for copyrights. A lot of people who write music and write books and so forth don't realize that those artistic expressions can also be protected as well. Last thing you want to have is a situation where you come up with this great song and then you write it out and then somebody takes those exact same words and goes and copies it. So guess what? You want to make sure you can demonstrate that you have actual legal ownership of this particular document. And there's actually procedures you can follow in order to protect that. That's what we call copyright protection. Also think about contracts and licenses. What you're going to find is that people out there are going to want to engage you in such a way so that they can take advantage of the fact that you've started to build a brand for yourself. Make sure that whatever arrangement you have with someone, that you have some type of written agreement so that they can understand what they can use your likeness for, or what they can use your brand for, and what they can't. Last thing you want to do is say, oh yeah, that's cool, and the next thing you know, they're using it for some other purpose and makes your brand weaker. So you want to make sure you control your brand in terms of how it's represented, and you need to do that in writing. As you're building up your brand, you're responsible for enforcing it. There is no, when I was in law school, they said there was no such thing as an intellectual property police. That means nobody's going to be actively, you can't get on the phone and call somebody and say, hey, somebody just violated my trademark, go get them. So that means you're going to have to start figuring out, okay, this is my brand, this is what's covered, this person is violating it, engaging an attorney and seeing whether you can sue them to, one, stop them from doing it, and two, determine if there's any type of damages that you have lost that needs to be recouped financially as a result of them doing what they're doing. So we want to start looking at that ahead of time so that this way you start getting in your mind, okay, I'm going to protect my brand at all costs because it's your brand. And talk to an attorney. You typically have two types of attorneys that deal with intellectual property. Those who can actually, there's those who do the intellectual property in terms of helping you put the safeguards in place. And then those are the ones who actually litigate. And what do you mean? Some do both. What do you mean by that? The people on the one side can help you file for copyright protection, file for trademark protection. preparing your legal licenses as well as your contracts. Then, if somebody breaches those things, you can go to either that same person who created it or to another one who can actually help you go into court and send a cease and desist letter, can actually help you stop individuals from doing these things, or even get you monetary damages and so forth in terms of suing them in court. Remember, one of the things that's wild about this new digital era that we have in is everybody's trying to create their own brand. Now, there's a million people out there creating their own brand, but there's going to be a few, and maybe it's you, that's going to come out the box and have a brand that's going to be so powerful that you need to do everything possible to protect it. Make sure you take the steps necessary so that this way your brand is what you want it to be.